Naur? Yes?
Here.
Can you hear us? Okay, hold on. We're waiting for some technical difficulties to go by as we here talk a little bit about the excerpt we heard about the making of Spiritism. It wasn't easy. How many renowned minds got to know of the spirit phenomena? But Kardec was different. He saw further down the line. He saw that, if life goes on, wow, it changes our perspective. Because in a second, we can be called back to the spiritual home, like the movie No Solar in the book. And all that we thought that was here, boom, changes. So Spiritism is quite fascinating because the main thing is to study the origin, the nature, and the destiny of us spirits, and the more implications of life in general. So we know Naur is there, and also Bernadette Leal, and we ask them to hold just for a bit as we go through this discussion and technical difficulties go away, and we'll be having them here on air. So Kirsten and Leo also wanted to share their take on the making of Spiritism.
It's quite interesting because you see when Kardec and Amélie Baudet and the Spirit Society of Paris, the way that they disseminated Spiritism with great devotion and selflessness, and Kardec talks about in the book What is Spiritism when they quote him, but his desire about wanting to leave a seed, because he was very aware of the fact, him and Amélie Baudet, that they were going to pass one day, so that he was very concerned with leaving this seed. So when he passed away back to the other side, that there was still something there to maintain Spiritism, whether in France or everywhere and elsewhere. And we see that it took fire in other lands and continues to grow. But that one thought of Kardec of wanting to leave the seed, the sense of responsibility we have, right, Leo, with planting that seed in the land that we are, because as Vanessa was sharing earlier, Jesus had this great plan. We learn about from the book On the Way to the Light that is now in English. Wonderful. We can go to www.edisayofamerica.com to purchase the book. It's a wonderful resource for everyone and anyone who speaks the English language, or to read it in Portuguese or any other language, right, Leo, to really learn that Jesus has sent, God had sent many different people across the globe to spread the message and the seed.
Yes, Kirsten, and as you said it all, foundation that it was left behind and during this make-off, and we can learn from all their difficulties, right? We can learn on the instruction that Kardec left from the Spirit of Paris in the Medium's book, talking about the meetings, how should it be organized, on all the examples that we have that we receive from his teachings. Again, leaving this foundation to all of us doing the make-off, showing that it's not easy. We heard here from the money that was put in, his own money, his own effort, day-to-day effort, because he also had his social part in society as a family member, and we see this. It's a great calling to all of us to continue work together.
One last thought, if I may. What was interesting when they report about Kardec in the book What is Spiritism, and Kardec even mentions it, that his personal life took a hit in terms of, not him and Amélie Baudet, because as we'll learn later, the relationship he had with her was truly a marriage of affinity, but his personal life in sense of, he didn't take vacations to the Bahamas, though we're not saying there's anything bad or wrong about that, but he completely devoted himself to Spiritism. Every waking moment was Spiritism. So he just relinquished all of that, him and Amélie, his wife, and just gave it all to Spiritism. All their funds, everything was just to Spiritism. And Amélie, luckily for them at that time, when he first married her, she came from a slightly wealthy family, but we know that their riches were kind of squandered away at the beginning of their marriage. But they persisted, and it's really a role model for us. We know that Jesus is our role model and guide, but Kardec really showed us a lot.
Exactly, and as Kirsten is saying that, it's all about the family feeling as well, dedicating our family to the universal family. And we're back here with Naur, and soon after, Bernadette Leal is also here with us on the screen room of Kardec Radio. Hi, Naur, are we back with you?
I hope so.
All right. So that's great. So we are here listening. You're talking about the importance of bringing these moments also to our homes. How important is that? What happens during the God at Home meetings or Gospel at Home meetings that make a huge difference in our lives now?
So we like a description by the spirit Joanna de Angelis, the spiritual guide of Divaldo Franco. She used to say that the person or the family who do the Gospel at Home as a group, it's like they're lighting up, bring this light to their homes that will illuminate not only their homes but the building they live in and the neighborhood. So it becomes a post of service that the good spirits can use not only to assist those people who live in those neighborhoods, but also the discarnate spirits that may be needing some guidance. So it's really a way to help ourselves, but also help other spirits and the neighbors that live with us.
Exactly. So we are very grateful that you know, as Leo is reminding us here, it's like making our homes a temple, right? So we are very grateful that you and Gabi are sharing these teachings that are mostly in the book Jesus in the Home by the Spirit Neo Lucio through Chico Xavier, right?
Yes.
All right. So we thank you so much for being here with us at Kardec Radio, not only today, but as always, you and Gabi, and we all wish you many blessings. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I would like also to thank all the staff of Kardec Radio for bringing this message. I think the host from the Bezerra de Menezes online radio said earlier that if Kardec had this technology at his disposal at that time, he certainly would have used it. And we see the value of it, especially in the United States, where there aren't many spiritual centers around, right? So it's very important for people to have access to this information, whatever easy ways they can get it to. So congratulations for your birthday, and we hope to see you even more in the future, and we hope to be participating and helping in the future as well.
Thank you so much, Naur. Thanks to you and to Gabi and to our great group in Somerville as well. Thank you. Now, dear listener, we have here with us our dear Bernadette Leal, who is also the host of the segment Yes. She's here with us. And hi, Bernadette. Thank you so much for being with us today at Kardec Radio Live.
Hi, Vanessa. Hi, everyone. Congratulations. I'm so excited.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah,
great job.
It's great that you also participate in the team and bring this beautiful segment. It's so beautiful that we have been also sharing the text you write for the segment at the Spiritist magazine. And the most current one, you're teaching about reincarnation to children. So how do you feel about disseminating these ideas through the radio?
I think that's wonderful, and we need as much help as we can get, because we think, children is our future. No, children are our present. We got to start working right now. We cannot just wait. No, when they grow up, no. And today, we have so many problems with our youth: depression, suicidal, anger, many children and teenagers doing cutting, and parents. They call me, and I'm a parent myself who went through a lot of things with my teenager daughter, so I know how it feels. And I go, we need to help parents to handle this situation. And more than just the education, the intellectual knowledge, we need to give them the spiritual explanation. Many times when we think the problem is only in the child, and seeing some parenting skills and things that we can do, we do wonderful things. So Kardec Radio is doing a wonderful job. The Spiritist magazine is doing a wonderful job. We have to do this all the time. Also, some friends come to me and said, Bernadette, I don't have to worry about it. I'm not a parent. I'm not an educator. Hey, wait a minute. Aren't you an aunt, an uncle? You never know. One day you are somewhere, a child may come to you and ask you a question. You go, oh, sorry, I'm not a parent. No, every day we have the opportunity to help those children and teenagers and parents and friends that come and ask some advice. And Spiritism is wonderful because it gives us this enlightenment. Not only it gives us the explanation why the children are here, why the spirits that actually are old spirits, they are here. So the more that we learn, the more that we educate, the better for the spirits, the better for our planet Earth that is evolving and progressing.
Exactly. And we thank you very much, Bernadette, for helping us. And we know that you also mainly coordinate the Department of Youth and Children, Spiritism for Youth and Children with the United States Spiritist Council, and you've been releasing the workbooks for parents and educators to work on Spiritism with their children as well. You want to talk a little bit more about that?
Yes. The book, which is actually lessons for teachers to teach Spiritism for children. We have the first one ready, and then we are connecting with God. And we say, oh, Spiritism is all about suffering and pain. Sometimes I hear that, and I completely disagree. Because it's about joy. It's about understanding. It's about having fun. Because once you have the answers from your questions, it's like a light shining in the darkness. So when we prepare the lessons, all the lessons with the Spiritist teachings has a lot of understanding, a lot of fun activities for children. So if you don't take your child to a Spiritist center, parents, go online, get this workbook, and start doing this at home slowly. The sooner we start with Spiritist education with our children, the better. Now we're going to start working on the second book with more and more fun lessons for our children. I hope to get one too for the teenagers and for the whole age. And also, it is fun doing this. This work excites me. I have this passion for children and for education. I'm just a big kid inside. You see me around,
Yeah. Well, that's
so
good.
I just blend.
Keep it up, and thank you so much for being with us. Do you have anything else you'd like to share with the listeners at Kardec Radio?
I'm just saying congratulations one more time. And listen to the Kardec Radio. The whole thing is wonderful. And if you're a parent and you have any questions and would like me, or but us, the Kardec Radio, to answer, you have any questions, we will be more than happy to do that. Just email to Kardec at KardecRadio.com, and we were all working together and support you. And one more time, congratulations, Kardec Radio. 1 year and many more to come.
All right. Thank you so much. I know Naur is also sharing with us because we forget that we're also being webcast here live, and he says, you're so focused and serious. We're cute. Thank you, Naur. But, because sometimes we just forget that it's also being webcast here. And thank you so much, Bernadette. We are very grateful to you for your time and for the great segments that you bring to us. So, yes, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, bye.
Bye. Thank you. So, dear listener, there's a lot. And, as Naur is here mentioning also, and it matches so much what Bernadette was bringing to us. She's talking about being jovial. And then we look at this picture of Kardec. Take a look on the covers. Is he serious? Was he like, he was serious inside, but was he like, because Jesus was a very smiling guy. Probably that's one of the reasons they crucified him, because smiling, what is this all about, smiling all the time? We hear in the accounts of many spirits bringing to us saying that Jesus was quite jovial, smiling, embracing, and Kardec was no different. Because when we go to the preface of Anna Blackwell, she tells us how he was, description of his physical profile and his attitude, his character. Let us listen to this and rejoice, because it's quite surprising.
In person, Kardec was somewhat under middle height and strongly built with a very large, round, massive head, well-marked features, and clear gray eyes. He looked more German than French, energetic and persevering, but of a temperament that was calm, cautious, and unimaginative, almost to coldness, and incredulous by nature and by education. A close, logical reasoner and eminently practical in thought and deed, he was equally free from mysticism and enthusiasm. Devoid of ambition, indifferent to luxury and display, the modest income he had acquired from teaching and from the sale of his educational works sufficed for the simple style of living he had adopted and allowed him to devote all the profits arising from the sale of his Spiritist books and from the Revue Spirit to propagating the movement he initiated. His excellent wife relieved him of all domestic and worldly cares, and thus enabled him to concentrate himself entirely to the work to which he believed himself to have been called, which he pursued with unswerving devotion to the exclusion of all extraneous occupations, interests, and companionships from the time he first began until he died. He made no visits beyond a small circle of intimate friends, and very rarely left Paris, spending his winters in the heart of the town in the rooms where he published his review, and his summers at the Villa Segru, a little semi-rural retreat which he had built and planned to be his home in his and his wife's old age, and which was located in the suburban region behind the Champ de Mars. The area is now crossed in every direction by the broad avenues and is quickly being built over, but at the same time, it was a sort of wasteland that might still pass for the country. Grave, slow of speech, unassuming in manner, yet not without a certain quiet dignity resulting from the earnestness and single-mindedness which were the distinguishing traits of his character. Neither courting nor avoiding discussion, but never volunteering any remark upon the subject to which he had devoted his life, he gracefully received the innumerable visitors from every part of the world who came to converse with him in regard to the views of which he was a recognized exponent. He answered questions and objections, explained difficulties, and provided information to all serious inquirers, with whom he talked with freedom and animation. His face occasionally lighted up with a genuine and pleasant smile, though his habitual sobriety of demeanor was such that he was never known to laugh. Among the thousands by whom he was thus visited were many of high rank in the social, literary, artistic, and scientific worlds. The Emperor Napoleon III, whose interest in the spirit phenomena was no mystery, sent for him several times and held long conversations with him at the Tuileries concerning the doctrines of the Spirit Book. Having suffered for many years from heart disease, Kardec drew up the plans in 1869 for a new Spiritist organization that would carry on the work of spreading the doctrine after his death. In order to assure its existence, he gave it a legal and commercial status and was determined to make it a regularly comprised joint stock, limited liability publishing and bookselling company to be constituted over a period of 99 years with the power to buy and sell, to issue stock, to receive donations and bequests, etc. To this society, which was to be called the Joint Stock Company for the continuation of the works of Allan Kardec, he intended to transfer the copyright of his Spiritist writings and of the Revue Spirit. Allan Kardec, however, was not destined to witness the realization of the project in which he took so deep an interest and which has since been carried out with the entire exactitude by his widow.
Yes, this is probably quite surprising to many to know that Kardec looked more like German, and though he was very loving and caring, jovial, he had a wonderful relationship with his wife that was actually 9 years his senior. You can tell Kardec was very different, because he was beyond the little things that happened here. And, you know, very soon, you stay there, because very soon we're going to stream to you a beautiful dialogue between Kardec and his wife in his final days. It's almost like a premonition of his discarnation, and the upcoming of the first Spiritist bookstore. But before we go there, we'd like to talk a little bit about this profile of Kardec, not only physically speaking, but his attitude. Though he was very disciplined, we're talking about it, right, Kirsten, when you quoted from the book, What is Spiritism?
Yeah, it's self-proclaimed, and also by others who knew him at that time, saw that he was extremely devoted and disciplined, and we were just discussing, as we were off air, what contributed to his austere devotion, and probably because if we know about his biography, he was educated at the Pestalozzi Institute, and they talk about this in the biography on the introduction of What is Spiritism, and they say that at times when Pestalozzi had to vacation somewhere, when he had to go abroad to open up other institutes, he actually put Kardec in charge at that time. And can you imagine the age Kardec was about in his 20s, and the Pestalozzi Institute was quite renowned, and they put Kardec in charge. Why? Because he obviously showed his disciplined nature, his ability to educate as well. So most likely we could deduce from the situation that he took that education and applied it into the spreading Spiritism, right? I mean, it only seems logical that our educational background affects what we bring to the Spiritist Center. Not to say that if you have no education, you have nothing to bring. We're not saying that, not at all. But as a Spirits book, they talk about question 643 about being as useful as possible. Use all your talents, right, Leo?
That is true. And as we said earlier here today, in whatever environment that is, as we use our talents in whatever environment we are. And to dig deeper what we have inside of us, what we carried on from previous lives, perhaps, as we study with Spiritism, as well as when we're incarnated here, whether in the Spiritist Center, whether in our lives, day-to-day lives with our family members, at work, we can do the same thing. We can continue in the same legacy. We can also portray ourselves in the same manner. We see from the codification how important this education was, on how coherent and on how easy it is to understand Spiritism. As one of the talks that I have watched by Divaldo Franco, he says people like to make things complicated, right? But if we really just go ahead and open our hearts and study the Spirit's book, the Gospel, many of us have come and say, well, the Medium's book is very complicated, but it's not. Just open your heart, study. Ask questions, and we will see how this education that Kardec has received impacted on the codification of this beautiful science.
Absolutely. And Kardec never spared a moment in teaching us and educating, because you see, although he was disciplined, austere, stoic in the center, he never forgot what the Spirit shared in the Spirit's book, that the relaxation of family ties would cause selfishness. He was so good to his wife. You see in the stories that are shared in many books about Kardec, the respect he had for family, not in a sense where he said, oh, it's my family and not yours. No, but he definitely complied with that law, right?
Exactly. And, we are here now live, and we have our friends from Massachusetts and also Florida. We're going to open the line to Maria Batchelor, friend of ours, and the president of the Benjamin Franklin Spiritist Society. Hello, Maria Batchelor. Thank you so much for being with us at Kardec Radio. How are you?
Good. Thank you. Thank you for inviting us. This is a wonderful radio.
So, tell us a little bit about the Benjamin Franklin Spiritist Society and where it's located as well.
Benjamin Franklin Spiritist Society is a very new Spiritist center in Westboro, Massachusetts, which is kind of the center of the state, close to Worcester, which is a big city in the state. And we are trying to disseminate Spiritism in this land here.
Exactly. So, Maria, we know that you do lots of works in English, and you also translate works that are materials that are offered in Brazil, especially through the Alta de Souza publisher. And you also have been hosting these beautiful events that have been happening for, 6 years now? And we recently were there. So can you tell us a little bit about that and the campaign that you also do there?
Yes. In our center, we follow a program called Alta de Souza, which is a very good program, completely based on the Spirit's advices in terms of the work that we should do in the Spirit Center. And the start of this whole program was the kilogram campaign in Brazil more than 50 years ago, and then later on the name changes to Alta de Souza Fraternal campaign, which is very similar to the Catholic campaign in Brazil done to acquire donations of foods and shoes, clothing for the community in Brazil. But the main purpose of this campaign will be disseminating through the Spiritist messages, as well as doing this obsession on the families' homes, because when we go with our spiritual friends, and we've been doing this since we started the Spiritist Center here. And it's a wonderful opportunity to go to the community, to knock on the doors, and to, make people read about Spiritism. They receive messages in their homes, and they can go to the website and learn a little bit about Kardec and about Spiritism.
It's great. Well, we're smiling here and laughing because we're communicating here amongst ourselves, and we're fascinated by how things really spread out and they come along. Maria, I need to share this with you. What I enjoyed very much every moment we were there at these meetings that is promoted is the fact that you feel the fraternity. You don't feel like many meetings, I'm not saying Spiritism in general, conferences in general, can be in science, in anywhere. You feel like too much of that seriousness and that, people are enclosed in their little worlds. And then in these meetings, you really feel people are sharing their hearts through the music, through the lectures, through the courses, which are fascinating, the opportunities to do it. And Kirsten reminded us to ask you if you could tell the people when you provide the English-speaking meetings at the center, if you could share the address so people who are listening to us, they can come there, and the website as well.
All right. Thank you for giving your feedback about our Alta de Souza Fraternal meeting, and that's one of the main goals, to be our Spiritist family together, when we learn together and we share our experiences. And I would like to take this opportunity to thank you, Vanessa, because you always was prompt to help since the beginning, and this is highly, highly appreciated, because that you bring people to our meetings and they end up knowing us because of your help too. So we really appreciate your help.
Thank you so much.
Benjamin Franklin is located at Route 9 in Westboro, and the address is 222 Turnpike Road. And we have activities on Tuesdays night, which is our public session. We have one room now that is the gospel room. We study the gospel in the sequence. Right now we're starting to study the chapter 5. And then this meeting is followed by passes. So it's Tuesdays night at 7:20. On Fridays night we have our studies. In August, beginning of August, August 10th, we will start our basic notions of Spiritism, which is a course of 5 months, weekly, of 2 hours each class. So it's even though it's a basic principles, but we'll go in depth about each subject. We also have children's group, youth group on Sundays mornings at 9 a.m. And everybody's invited. Everybody's welcome.
That's wonderful. It's good to have you there. And, keep up the good work because, as you know, We need it. And Benjamin Franklin is our inspiration because sometimes, as you know, people don't know. We should dedicate a whole program about Benjamin Franklin as a spiritist because he belongs to the team of the codification of Spiritism, right?
Oh, yes. He signed the Spirit book, so that's a big deal.
Exactly. So thank you so much, Maria, and big hug to all of our friends there. Keep up the good work, and we hope to have you back at Kardec Radio very soon. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Thank you for the wonderful program and everything that you guys do.
All right.
To help us disseminate Spiritism.
Thank you. So, dear listener, we are here with Maria Batchelor from the Benjamin Franklin Spiritist Society, and we purposely invited them, though there are many great centers around the United States, because of the name, Benjamin Franklin. Because Kardec Radio is also here because Ben Franklin is one of the mentors of the SSB and of the Kardec Radio and many good works in English in Spiritism around the world. And Benjamin Franklin is this great mind. We needed to understand how he was. He was very good diplomat. And he was also not only that life, but a true spiritist. He really embraced all the cultures, and I bet when he was in France, he was speaking French. I doubt he would communicate well with French, as well as he did to get the funds and to bring General Lafayette, the French founding father, to fight with the Americans for its independence, were it not for his ability to be fully immersed in the culture and to speak many languages. Kirsten DeMelo is reminding us he spoke in French, so we need to speak Spiritism in English. It's already the year 2012. We have no time anymore to wait for some time in 2100. Can you imagine if we delay that much more? If I reincarnate today, I would love to be honored to be reborn in a Spiritist family as I did, speaking in my own language. And now we're going to open the line to our dear Marcelo Neto, who is the president of the Florida Spiritist Federation, as well as the treasurer of the United States Spiritist Council, together with his wife, Andrea Marshall, who is also one of the directors of EDICIofamerica.com. You know, we've been talking all the shows about all the books published there, and here they are. Thank you so much, Marcelo and Andrea, for being with us at Kardec Radio today.
Oh, it's such an honor to be here. Happy anniversary.
Yes, happy anniversary, Vanessa, and good afternoon to all from Miami, Florida. And we are pleased, very, very pleased, Vanessa, to be participating not only on this wonderful and joyous celebration, celebrating Kardec Radio's first anniversary, and of course many more to come, but also celebrating America for its independence. It is certainly a happy day today, and we have been listening to the thoughts of our friends revolving around Kardec's work and contribution to humanity. And his contribution is far more profound than most can truly grasp. And of course, his courage, Kardec's courage to disseminate a message, this new message, sacrifice of his health and time to propagate Spiritism in such a selfless way is of the utmost importance for our current and ever-changing and evolving world, Vanessa. Mm-hmm. And we are so pleased looking at us today, those of us who have been exposed to these revolutionary ideas. We can ask, what have I done so far to spread this beautiful message that Kardec brought over 155 years ago? And we are very, very honored to be part of the distribution of his work in America through EDICI of America and be part of the Kardec Radio today. It's a great, great honor. Great honor.
And we are very thankful to you and Andrea for taking the lead of helping the United States Spiritist Council and also the International Spiritist Council in spreading these important works. Can you tell us, Andrea, about the latest publications that came about through Odyssey of America?
Yes, good morning, good afternoon, everybody from Miami Beach here. It is, like Marcelo said, it's an honor to be here, and even more to be talking a little bit more about Odyssey of America. It's the Spiritist publisher affiliated to the International Spiritist Council, for those who do not know. I heard Kirsten talking about the books that you guys can find at odysseyofamerica.com, and we are so pleased because in the past we had such a problem with not having enough books, not just Kardec's book, but also other books that add an immense value to the literature, the Spiritist literature. And now we look around and we see countless titles available in English for us to be able to study, read together, watch lectures, be able to present workshops, and have the language. I heard you saying it's time that we speak English to try to disseminate and propagate and distribute the seeds of knowledge from what Kardec brought us. And we are pleased to say that we are having many more translations. The latest ones we have had here was Between Heaven and Earth. We also had In the Realms of Mediumship and On the Way to the Light. And pretty soon we are going to have one by an author that we haven't had one, Ivone Pereira. And we're going to be receiving from her and hopefully do some talks around to be able to propagate the book, Memories of a Suicide. Wow. And when it comes to the value of life and making sure that we are spreading a little bit more knowledge about the repercussions and circumstances after death, about suicide and taking drugs and all the other issues that truly put in question the way we value life, it's going to be brought on by this book, and we can't wait to be able to distribute this book, to be able to answer questions, to be able to give some heart's consolation and comfort and hope and even more courage to be able to face life's obstacles and difficulties that normally arise in the world that we live in today. So we are excited to be part of the distribution of these books here in America, other countries as well. And that's basically what we have to say about the latest work.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much. It brings so much hope and inspiration to us. One more reason, Andrea and Marcelo, as we shared at the beginning, as we're quoting from the very book you just mentioned, On the Way to the Light, we're talking about Emmanuel's words on the Mission of the Americas. On the very chapter 20th of the book, Emmanuel talks about the United States of America being the brain of the new civilization, and a brain needs knowledge. A brain needs books. So here you are with Odyssey of America. Nourish our brains as well, right, Marcelo?
Right, you're right, absolutely right. It's a wonderful chapter, the one that you just mentioned, and it's a synthesis of a historical way that humanity came along, and we all truly recommend the reading of this beautiful book.
We also we have to mention, because some people asked me the other day if the book Among Brothers of Other Lands was available, and since you mentioned the Spiritist Federation of Florida, we try to, on a yearly basis, we are coming up on the 6th year this year, to conduct workshops all in English. It's about 3.5 hours long, and we invite different speakers, and they're short lectures, much like the symposium that you started, Vanessa, and we copied your idea, and it has been wonderful. And last year we actually did one around the book, and it was mostly to try to encourage Spiritists to be able to participate in the dissemination of the wonderful seeds that Kardec brought us. And there was some chapter 1, the key points for the Spiritists who visit other lands, the need for us to be able to learn the language, to respect the host that receives us, and today is an important day for all of us. We chose America to live in, and so the question is, what can we do here in order to promote the new world? What are we doing with the seeds that Kardec brought us? And this is a very important and intimate question that each and every one of us should be asking ourselves. What is my role?
Exactly.
Right.
Thank you so much. Marcelo, Andrea, you just made our hearts rejoice to share this good news and to being there. And we hope very soon we can have a segment for Odyssey of America when you can tell us more about these amazing books that are being distributed from the great books that Kardec brought to us, through the mediumship of Chico Xavier, Ivone Pereira, and much more. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you, Vanessa. Thank you, everybody from Kardec Radio. It's been an honor.
Thank you very much, Vanessa, and all of you. It's as Andrea has just said, it was a great honor to be part of the show.
Thank you so much.
Happy Independence Day to all. Happy anniversary to Kardec Radio.
Yes. That's absolutely.
Thank you so much. God bless you all. And dear listener, what a joy to know that the resources are here, because those good spirits, they plan. They plan. They are cautious. As we heard about the profile of Kardec, he was not in this hastiness, this precipitated mode. They plan every single step. And when we talk about planning, the importance of doing these meetings in English, even for immigrants, because some people tell, "Oh, Vanessa, what about the immigrants? They need it. They suffer so much." Say, you know what? That's not the Spiritist view, because in Spiritism there is no victim. If we're suffering, we need to adapt ourselves to suffer less, because the more we keep ourselves in our quote-unquote, and we say this kindly, in our ghettos, the less we're going to be happy. Science already proves to us that those who speak the language of the country to which they immigrated, their self-esteem is higher. And self-esteem higher means less obsession. Because when our self-esteem is challenged, we are opening our doors to obsessors, to spirits. So if we want to help immigrants, we better open our centers to English only. There was a time in which the transition happened, but now it's the 21st century. We need, as we've heard here and now, there's no time anymore. There is a time that we can almost foresee in the future when people are going to talk about this, and they'll say, really? Was that how it was? Yes, believe it or not, it's going to be in the history of Spiritism, that we had to fight so hard for this to come true and to bring the reasoning behind it. But right now, we're going to listen to one of the things that Kardec showed to us in his books, Heaven and Hell. One of the books that's really not understood very well, Heaven and Hell. There's so many beautiful excerpts, and Kardec Radio brings to us the dialogues of the spirits with Kardec through the mediums, and this is about Novell. Novell was a suffering spirit, and that's one of the reasons why Spiritism is here, to help the majority of people in this planet through a healthy, productive, therapeutic mediumship. It's about rescuing the suffering spirits. Let us listen to Novell right now.
Novell. The spirit addressed itself to the medium whom he had known while alive.
I'm going to tell you about my suffering when I died. My spirit, held to the body by material bonds, had great difficulty in breaking free. That was in and of itself the first phase of cruel anguish. The life I left behind at just 21 years of age was yet so strong in me that I couldn't believe I had lost it. Thus I searched for my body, but was amazed and terrified at finding that I was lost in a whirlpool of darkness. Finally, the awareness of my situation and the revelation of the wrongs I had committed during all my incarnations suddenly struck me. An implacable light illuminated the most secret corners of my soul. I felt naked and was soon taken with overpowering shame. I tried to run from that feeling by being interested in the new and thus unknown objects surrounding me. Luminous spirits hovered in the ether and displayed a blessedness to which I couldn't aspire, while dark and desolate forms, some immersed in gloomy despair, others furious or mocking, glided around me or upon the earth, to which I stayed attached. I saw people moving about, and I envied how unaware they were. A whole order of unknown, or rather restored sensations invaded me at the same time. Pulled by an irresistible force and trying to run from cruel pain, I crossed distances and elements and physical objects and neither natural beauties nor heavenly splendors could calm for one instant the lacerations of my conscience or the terror caused by the revelation of eternity. Mortals can sense impending physical torture by the shivering of the flesh, but their fragile pains, softened by hope, mitigated by distractions, or deadened by forgetfulness, will never give them an idea of the anguish of a soul that suffers without respite, without hope, without repentance. After some time, I cannot tell how long, envying the elect whose splendors I beheld, loathing the evil spirits who pursued me with mocking remarks, and despising people whose turpitude I witnessed, I went from a state of profound dejection to one of insensate rebellion. Finally, you called me, and for the first time a soft and tender sentiment allayed me. I listened to the teachings that your spirit guides gave you. The truth entered my heart, and I prayed. God has heard me and has revealed himself to me through his clemency, just as he used to reveal himself by his justice. Novelle.
Dear listener, are you impressed? Because it's quite impressive that we are here listening to Kardec's own dialogue, showing to us that there is need also to work on our mediumship to help the discarnate spirits who are suffering, who are earthbound. We need to help them. That's also one of the reasons why Spiritism is here. And you may ask, why do we incarnates? Can't the superior spirits do it on themselves? You see, this question comes because we don't understand the behind the scenes. With books such as the one that Andrea Marshall and Marcelo Neto mentioned to us in the realms of mediumship by Spirit Dr. Andrea Lewis, we get to know our mechanisms of mediumship that Spirit out of Baltimore will pretty soon make course available online through tvci.com. We're going to get to know that the laws that pertain to the communication of spirits explain it. When you're too lower in a vibration, you cannot be achieved by these forces without being scared out. Read the books by Andrea Lewis and you get to know. Then through mediumship, they're so much closer, these suffering spirits, to us in the flesh, that it's easier for them to listen to the spirits in the spiritual realm than, to us in the physical realm than to the spirits in the spiritual realm. You want to say something, Kirsten?
Was thinking what you're saying, reading the book Missionaries of the Light by psychographed by Chico Xavier by the Spirit Andrea Luis, they talk about this, about that magnetic shock that they need from the incarnates to assist in the rescuing process. So it is quite needed. And Kardec, again, I know I'm referencing this book a lot only because probably I'm reading it recently, but the book What is Spiritism, Kardec addresses this issue when people in spiritist centers or everywhere and elsewhere ask questions that would appear as if that they should know. It's because that they don't know, so they need more education, and we have the responsibility to help in the education process. But yeah, it definitely is that. It's that shock that is very much needed.
Exactly. So we really need to, right, Leo, you are one of the spirit counselors of the Spirit Society of Baltimore, and you can tell how many spirits come in and are being rescued through a healthy, well-prepared, educated mediumship.
Yes, Vanessa, it is true, and it's an honor, number one, for us to be in, helping others. And we quite many times we try to bring one of the teachings that we receive from Spiritism as well. Heaven and Hell is a great example of it. That through our dedication to help, our day-to-day changes that we put ourselves through in our daily lives, in how beautiful it is to learn from somebody that is going through a suffering moment, and we extend that hand, and right then and there we see that the mutual help. We extend a hand, and we're being helped as well, because now we know that we're not able, we shouldn't be, or we ought to be, not following the same temptations, same struggles that we see these spirit friends, brothers and sisters following themselves. And as we said, Heaven and Hell is a great example that if it wasn't for this exchange or this kind hand that we offer others to express themselves from the beyond, what would it be of us? How much we learn from them, right? So it's truly a necessity to all of us.
Yes, it's like reaching out into two realms. And you know what? We have a friend here who just called us. He's a great friend from New York, and he, together with Naur Fonseca, Eduardo Guimarães from New York, he is here with us at Kardec Radio. Yay, Eduardo!
Hello, Eduardo.
How are you?
Good. Nice to be here with you guys. Congratulations for the first anniversary. It's a wonderful accomplishment, and I'm very happy being here.
You know, Eduardo, Carlos and I personally had a last-minute thing, and we couldn't be there with you. Our dear Selenia and the Shepherds needed us. But Leo, Daniel, and Kirsten, Sarah, Luciana, Juliana, Flavia, Isabella, they were there to represent all of us in the amazing 9th Family Spiritist Retreat. I think it's the largest Spiritist event that actually happens in the United States to date. Can you tell us more about the beautiful organization and the goal of this yearly event?
Yes, it's really amazing. I am there from the beginning, from the first day in 2004, the first retreat. And till today, I cannot understand how can we organize that. Because it's a wonderful teamwork. It's incredible. And not only teamwork between us, the incarnate ones, but we can see and feel clearly the presence of the spirits in many different ways. One of them is the preparation of the place, the park. We have been there one day before, on the Saturday, to prepare some things to set up the park, and we could feel the environment. How was wonderful, the feeling of being there. And then also, it's a huge organization because we have more than 100 workers.
Wow.
And then almost 200 people that participate. So in a total, that is about 300 people.
Oh, wow.
And everything goes so smoothly that every year we are amazed by that fraternity, the happiness that we see in everybody, workers and attendees alike. It's really something very special. We are very, very happy being able to work together and accomplish this.
Yeah, it's amazing. And we have to say this. Also today we're dedicating to the show to this feeling of freedom, free from fear and prejudices. And I will never forget, Eduardo, when in 2007, in the first Spiritist Symposium, you had the inspiration to put together the Inner Enlightenment Spiritist Society. And we're talking about overcoming fears as immigrants of making Spiritism in English. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, we at Inner Enlightenment Spiritist Society, we are very grateful to you, to Josiah Courtney Goldstone Spiritist Group of New York, the Spiritist Symposium, because thanks to you, we are a reality today. The Inner Enlightenment is there because of you guys. And it's a wonderful experience because we had this fear in the beginning. And as we decided to work out and put everything together and open the group, things also start working smoothly because we count much more on our guides than on our own abilities that are so little. And we see today, in August 18th, we are celebrating our 5th anniversary.
Wow.
And we never forgot your help, Sarah's help, and Spiritist Symposium. That was so important to give us the courage to start this work. And as we see nowadays, our friends that are not Brazilians, not only Americans, but we have an Indian friend, we have Argentinians, we have even French, and seeing everybody there together studying Spiritism in English is wonderful. Although, of course, as you have said earlier, it's more comfortable for us to speak and especially to pray and meditate in our own mother tongue. But it's rewarding making the effort to allow more people to come and share this wonderful philosophy that has rescued us from our selfishness and all the conflicts that we carry within us.
That's so interesting. Eduardo, we really commend you and Naur and Mackenzie and all the other friends from Trumbull, Connecticut, and from all the centers, because in these events, we truly feel that there is so much guidance. And I'll tell you more. Studying the book Renuncia by Emmanuel, we probably have a glimpse on the reasons why these events happen in Connecticut, because he talks about the coming of his very branches of connections to the United States, especially in Connecticut. So there must be something going on there, and if it must be in English, because otherwise the plans of Emmanuel are not going to be accomplished. Not on Emmanuel, but as he represents the Christ consciousness in this country. So right?
Yeah, and that's interesting how it starts in Connecticut, how we decided to do in Connecticut, because from the beginning, from the first year, we were people from Massachusetts, Connecticut, and New York, and New Jersey. And then Connecticut was the middle, like people coming from Massachusetts and people coming from New Jersey would meet in the middle, which is Connecticut. That's why we chose Connecticut, but I'm sure that spirituality, they have different reasons for that, as you said.
It's amazing. And as we're speaking here with you, Mackenzie is in the screen room, and he's going to talk to us as well. Thank you so much, Eduardo, for your support, for your great example of how to overcome our fears and limitations by thinking more of others than ourselves. Thank you so much, Eduardo.
Thank you very much. And once again, congratulations to everybody from the Kardec Radio team. And God bless you all and keep you strong to go on with the work. Thank you.
All right, thank you. So, dear listener, we have also here Mackenzie Mello. Mackenzie, welcome to Kardec Radio. How are you?
Hello, Vanessa. How are you doing? Good to hear Kardec Radio once again, and especially on this very beautiful day here in Boston. We thought it would rain, but I guess the rain didn't come, so it's a very pleasant day here.
That's great, because, the United States is really a role model in this bringing about the law of freedom. And talking about the law of freedom and the many laws of life, studying Spiritism, you've been the main coordinator of e-Spiritism. I know you have many other roles in the Spiritist Movement there in Massachusetts, but you have been this amazing coordinator at e-Spiritism. Can you tell our listener also about this resource of Spiritism that is out there?
Oh, yeah. Online, we have this wonderful tool for learning Spiritism that we put together with Vanessa and Daniel a while ago. It's been, I think, almost 3 years now. and we have some courses online that people have been studying and following, reading the materials and writing, and listening to the presentations, downloading the PPFs, the PowerPoint presentations, and the PDFs, and reading and studying. And it's a great tool for not only for learning Spiritism in English, but actually to meet new people, to hear people from the United Kingdom, from the United States, all over the place, and it's a great tool to learn and to enter in contact with other people in Spiritism. So it's wonderful to be there and see different points of view, and we have the chance to see people doing art, making drawings of how they perceive their life and how they want their lives to be in the future. And it's been a great pleasure to be part of this project, espiritism.org, for the ones who didn't hear it yet. It's an easy website to remember, espiritism.org.
So, Mackenzie, we also want to thank you for your endurance and persistence to being there, because we know sometimes working anonymously, sometimes, you're there working on the behind the scenes in this worldwide classroom that is Spiritism, but you're so diligent, and thanks to you, we have to say this, though we no need praises, but it's important that people know that, there are devoted minds out there that are faithful to this educational work, and you have been a great educator at Spiritism, and we really hope to have you more often at Kardec Radio, helping us getting to know more about Spiritism as well.
Oh yeah, I truly try to listen as often as I can. Not all the time I'm able to talk on the phone. Today is a very special day since it's a holiday, but it's the anniversary. So I'd like to congratulate everybody that does Kardec Radio. We know it's a hard task, and we don't know everybody that's behind the scenes there also. So I'd like to congratulate all of them. I heard Kirsten early on. I talked to Daniel, and I know there are more people back there, Carlos, and a lot of people. So congratulations to all of you. And the anonymous side, it's how we try to do things. We just want to make sure that everything works. And if there's somebody behind the scenes, it's great to have everything working. So.
Exactly. Thank you so much, Mackenzie, and a big hug to you and to the whole family there, and to the Peabody Spiritist Center as well. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Vanessa. Congratulations again.
All right. So I apologize to Carlos, because sometimes he is here helping us so much, and I go and do my things. But Carlos is here, as Mackenzie is saying, on the behind the scenes, every show we have many friends helping. We have Carlos mainly, we have Daniel, Kirsten, we have Leo, but we also have our, beloved Selena Shepard. She helped a lot, and her husband, Steve Shepard. We also have Stella Favaretto, who is from the Spirit side of Virginia, which is also just turned 5 years this year, and is the headquarters of Kardec Radio as well. She's the one that sends the emails for Kardec Radio. We have the little Sarah DeMelo, Kirsten DeMelo's daughter. She's only 10, and she has been helping us. We have the adorable Isabella Vieira, and in a few you're going to listen to a beautiful dialogue between Kardec and his wife. And the voice of Melie Boudet is the sweet voice of Isabella. We have also Carolina Stroh-Snyder, Juliano Maya, the Father and the Son, not the Holy Spirit though, just the Father and the Son. Francisca Kranz, our dear friend and correspondent in England. Luis Grasso, also from England. We have Marco Magalhães, Joyce Magalhães from Canada. We had, in the past, also the collaboration of Marcos and Mirella Signorini. The great John DeRosa from the Spirit side of Virginia, who has been doing great voiceovers for Kardec Radio. The also little but great in the heart, Isabella Cisneros, who is the daughter of Marisa Cisneros, and Claudia, the president of the United States Spiritist Council, and another one who also helped us, Gabriel Korngold, the son of Jussara and João Korngold from New York. We also have collaborators like Bernadette Leal, Naur Fonseca, Gavi Ferreira, Nara Vindite, and many, many more. And if we forgot somebody, please write quickly in the chat and remind us, because we have only 23 minutes before the show ends today. When we planned these 3-hour shows, we thought, oh my God, it's going to be so hard to fill 3 hours. And it's like, oh my gosh, 3 hours are just almost gone. But, you know, we have beautiful messages to send. Because Anna Blackwell, she wrote about the final days of Kardec. And it's important to know, because we Spiritists, we talk so much about spirits and the afterlife, but many of them are like, no, I don't want to talk. Oh, you're talking about discarnation. I don't want to talk about it. But when are we ever going to talk about it? Joana de Angelis said from. We need to think about that at least once a day. Because sooner than later, or sooner or later, I don't know, it's going to happen. We're going to go back to our real home. Kardec had a premonition about what happened to him. And we want to share with you 2 excerpts. One in Anna Blackwell's own words, and you can find it in the preface of the Spirit's book, the English version. And then later, through the very sweet words of Chico Xavier himself, a beautiful dialogue between Kardec and his wife. And here it is for you. We're going to show to you how Anna Blackwell described the last days of Kardec.
On March 31st, 1869, having finished drawing up the Constitution and rules of the Society, from which he foresaw that he would soon be removed, he was seated in his usual chair at the desk in his rooms on Rue Saint-Anne, and was tying up a bundle of papers when his busy life was suddenly brought to an end by the rupture of an aneurysm from which he had so long suffered. His passage from the earth to the spirit world, with which he had so closely identified himself, was instantaneous, painless, and without sight or a tremor. A most peaceful falling asleep and reawakening, a fit ending for such a life. His remains were interred in the cemetery of Montmartre, in the presence of a great concourse of friends, many hundreds of whom assemble there every year at the anniversary of his decease, during which a few commemorative words are spoken and fresh flowers and wreaths, as is usual in the continental graveyards, are laid upon his tomb. It is impossible to precisely ascertain the number of those who have adopted the views set forth by Allan Kardec. They are estimated by themselves to be many millions, but they are, at the least, incontestably very numerous. Periodicals devoted to the advocacy of these views in various countries already number over 40, and new ones are constantly appearing. Kardec's death has not slackened the acceptance of the views set forth by him, and which are believed by those who hold them to be the basis, but the basis only of the new development of religious truth predicted by Christ, the beginning of the promised revelation of many things that have been kept hidden since the foundation of the world, and for the knowledge of which the human race was not ready at the time of that prediction. Anna Blackwell, Paris, 1876.
Kardec's last days. According to historian Canora Breu, we here retell the adapted story of Kardec's last days in Chico Xavier's own words, as written in the book A Sombra do Abacateiro, Under the Shade of the Avocado Tree, by Carlos Bacelli.
We hear in the traditions that Kardec was beloved in literary circles. He left many books, he embraced the formation of Spiritism, and worked on it for 12 years non-stop. To give us an idea of the wonders of his legacy, we find in the Spiritist magazine his wonderful correspondence with the world, his networks, his dialogues with the spirits, his Spiritist trips. This man had a hard-working life. In the beginning of 1869, Kardec planned out with other Spiritist friends to found the first Spiritist bookstore in the world, which would be a bookstore in Paris. Today, due to several occurrences, it does not exist any longer. Its purpose was to divulge the Spiritist literature. During the last 10 years of March, Kardec felt the so-called precordial pain, which today we can treat normally, but in the year 1869 they had no available treatment whatsoever. His wife, Miss Gabby, about 4 days before the death of the codifier, heard him say,
"Gabby, I'm not feeling well. I have strong chest pain, but the inauguration of the bookstore is scheduled for April 1st. We have 5 days to set up inauguration as identical as possible. I do not feel well, but on the 1st, we must do it."
But if the pain increases, we can postpone for another week, perhaps in 15 days.
We may have more than 50 colleagues from France and from Belgium. I cannot miss it. With or without pain, I must go.
But as your wife, I think you should ponder it better.
But I have to think about the effort and money that everyone spent to be here on this special occasion.
Nevertheless, I advise you to postpone it.
You advise me to postpone it, but even if I am very ill on April 1st, or even if I'm discarnated then, what would you do for me? Let us remember that this is a charitable philosophy. We cannot make people wait for us. After all, this is not charitable. We need to be there anyways.
Since your decision was made, in that case, if you get worse...
You mean, if I discarnate before then?
In this case, if you get worse or discarnate, I will go in your place.
On March 31st, Kardec discarnated of an aneurysm. It was sudden. Their friends arrived at their home later in the evening, and someone asked,
"Should we postpone the inauguration?"
No. My husband and I talked about it. He is in the urn. Tomorrow is the first day of his viewing, but at 10 a.m. I will meet his promise. In the name of the doctrine of charity, I will represent him.
Early that morning, April 1st at 8 a.m., Mrs. Gabby said goodbye to Kardec and told him she would fulfill her obligation. She then asked for his excuse to be absent for a while and went to the inauguration of the first Spiritist bookstore. It took about 2 hours. Gabby gave some interviews, lectures, and went back to the side of her husband's body. The newspapers remarked her courage and bravery. As we see, dear friends, this is a doctrine that does not prevent us from fulfilling our obligations, not even at the death of our loved ones. Mrs. Kardec, or Gabby, inaugurated the bookstore without tears or lamentation, naturally with her heart broken, but she fulfilled her promise.
Dear listener, this is Chico Xavier, and telling us in precise words how adorable Amélie Boudet was and how supportive she was. Different from many couples nowadays, in which if the spouse becomes fully integrated in Spiritism, they're like, "Oh, but what about me?" No, Gabby was fully supportive of Kardec. Without her, there wouldn't be Spiritism either. So we need also, it's the family feeling, and we need to emulate her and be inspired by her. Even at the toughest time, she followed the footsteps of the codifier. Is that how we feel about this? As we're celebrating the first anniversary of Kardec Radio and getting to know more about Kardec and his life.
Definitely. I mean, we know through the historical records about Amélie Boudet. She says hello, obviously, just dropped. We know that she was and Kardec actually mentions it, someone mentions it also somewhere in the literature about Amélie Boudet, that without her, who knows if Kardec would have been able to really fulfill everything without having her help. And, you know, all the work, she was always in behind the scenes, encouraging him, saying, no, come on, whatever she called him, Denisard, Revile, we don't know, Denny, Lenny, but with all due respect. Now, I mean, it really takes a lot, and it, like you were saying, the support she offered is tremendous, and we'll never know what the work might have been like had she not been there to be so supportive to him over the many years he spent bringing together the books and the literature, because for sure there were many hard times. Kardec didn't have it easy. Not at all. I mean, when they burned all of the literature, I mean, he had to go home to whom? And sure, he must have felt like, oh, but I'm sure she was there. No, come on, Denizard, let's keep going, you know. So it is great when we have someone in our corner to really help us along. So it's quite inspirational, her devotion as well as a wife and a supporter of Spiritism, because she also was a supporter of Spiritism as well. Right?
Right. Right, Lou.
Well, the only thing that I would add to this is giving a big thanks to the 5 children, and more obviously we know that it's not only the codification, the 5 main books, but the 5 children that they brought to us together, that they were able to produce the Spirit's book, the Gospel, Heaven and Hell, Medium's book, Genesis, and other books as well. And all the teachings that they were able to multiply and to bring to the world based on their relationship, based on being on the same page, whether through going through the struggles or not. As we just heard here in the final moment, they persisted. They endured everything that they had to endure to bring the message. So a huge thanks, a huge feeling of gratitude to all of us.
To all of us, right? And although
from all of us.
Daniel is very busy there with the webcasting, he sends his regards, he's very supportive of everything, and Carlos is also very busy there, and that's the nature of things. They are there on the behind the scenes, but without them we wouldn't be here. But as we go into, as Marisa said in the chat room of TV Say, it's too fast. We know, Marisa. Cannot believe it. We're making it 3 hours of show. You know, dear friends, this is an invitation to you. If you're out there and you feel impelled to put together a segment, write to us at Kardec Radio at gmail.com. And then, of course, we are most welcoming as long as we follow the rules and regulations of Kardec Radio, because every good organization has rules and regulations. This word, democracy, is never present in the Spiritist literature. It's all about what William James tells us. We want to help, right? We need teamwork. No good works happen alone. We wouldn't be able to be here with Spiritism were it not for the teamwork efforts of Kardec, with the Spiritist mediums, his wife, his colleagues, and everybody else. He never did anything on his own. And you know, when in the book Among Brothers of Other Lands, we have 20 questions that were given to William James in the spirit realm. And when they asked how we can best work in the fields of action of Spiritism, William James advised, I believe we can summarize the main rules of work in the following program. We Spiritists need to feel with self-control, to think with elevation, to speak constructively, to study always, and to serve more. These are the very words we need to bring it, because it's the 4th of July, American independence. And of course, the first lines of the Declaration of Independence talk about the very teachings of Spiritism, when it says to us that, you know, we're here equally as children of God and need to be free under no circumstance we should be impelled to do things we don't want to do. And if you want to do Spiritism, there are rules to be followed to be efficient. And working together, as Kardec said in the Medium's book, it's less likely we're going to go wrong. What we cannot do is sit there back and relax and enjoy the show but not be part of the show. You can be part of the show. Kardec Radio is here with you, for you. You can call, you can email us, go to the website, make your suggestions. If you have a great idea, share with us, because it's most welcoming. And not only that, but we want to open the line for our final comments before we take into the prayerful moment to be grateful to the Creator for this opportunity. Leo and Kirsten.
Ladies first.
We wanted to thank Vanessa and all the coordinators for allowing us to be here today. It is truly an honor, and for the noble spirits and coordinators who also allowed us to partake in today's show. It really was inspirational for us and really revived Kardec in our minds. And we know that he's off in the distance somewhere watching the webcast and proudly, giving us his kind regards. And it is quite an honor to continue the legacy that he passed for us by God and with the help of the good and noble spirits.
A gift. I think this is mainly a gift once more for us to be here together from our dear Creator, for the opportunity that we have at hand to disseminate Spiritism, to work together with all of these individuals that we talk to, that we mention here today, that everybody is going through this, their struggles, their difficulties in their lives, and they're persisting. And that's what we have to elevate. That's what we have to encourage more people to do so. And by all means, to be here on a day, as it is for this nation today, working and dedicating ourselves towards the necessity of others, is just an enlightenment moment. It's just a very happy moment to all of us. And hopefully in the future, we'll have more of this and much more with our mentors, the mentors of our houses and our Spiritist Center, giving us this encouragement. So a big thanks to everything.
We want also to give thanks to all the people who kindly received our invitation to be interviewed at Kardec Radio. All the interviewees, from the first one, Gary Schwartz, Mark Baker, and also our dear Tom Kratzley, and many, many more, Carol Bauman and Andrew Newberg, and so many. We thank you all for making this a possibility, and we hope that this is spreading out much, much more to all the listeners who share, and to all of you who are there. Let us recall, what is Spiritism all about? Spiritism, says Kardec, is the promised consoler. Dear friends, it's not about philosophy, religion per se. It's about true connection with our Creator. And in the Gospel According to Spiritism, there's a whole chapter that is entitled The Promised Consoler. In the chapter, The Promised Consoler, or The Consoling Christ, chapter 6, page 149 of the Gospel According to Spiritism. Can you imagine our lives without the call of Jesus? Cannot imagine it. At the time we were, despised if we were not rich, disregarded if we were ill, set aside in so many ways and reasons for not being beautiful or powerful. And with Christ came a new era. An era of fraternity, and an era of love, happiness. And Jesus is here again through Spiritism. Spiritism is the promised consoler. It's the coming back of Jesus. And he said, I'm not going to come back one person in the flesh. He said he would be back in a different way. He said, and we can quote from Matthew chapter 11, verses 28 to 30. Come unto me, all who suffer and who are overburdened, and I will comfort you. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me that I'm gentle and humble of heart, and you'll find rest of your souls, for my yoke is easy and my burden is light. And Kardec develops this understanding by telling us all types of suffering find their consolation in faith in the future and in trust in God's justice, which Christ came to teach humanity. And this is what Spiritism is all about. He said, if you love me, keep my commands, and I will pray to my Father that He will send you another consoler. He was so humble. He said, I will ask the Father to send you, because it's all about God. It's not about us. We don't do Kardec Radio. Emmanuel says very clearly to all of us that the good works are divine sent. We're just officers of a task to be fulfilled. And he said here, I will send you the Spirit of truth, whom the world cannot receive, because it neither sees him nor knows him. But as for you, you will know him, because he will remain with you and will be among you. But the Consoler, who is the Holy Spirit, whom my Father will send in my name, will teach you all things and will enable you to remember everything that I have said you. And this is Spiritism. This is the very Spiritism, and that's why Kardec Radio is here, to bring the promised Consoler to nourish our hearts, to nourish our minds, and in this very moment, we close our physical eyes and join our hearts together all around the world. Listeners from Kardec Radio and from the web TV, tvci.com, we pray. Oh God, Mother, Father of our lives, we're so grateful for every day we discover a new meaning, a new mechanism. We understand more about ourselves and one another, and we begin again. Forgive us for the same past, and may we be stronger together, forgetting about prejudices, preconceived notions, about how to disseminate this light. Bless America today. We are freer, we are stronger as planet Earth. May we be of help to keep this brain of the new civilization healthy, well guided, as we learn to guide ourselves towards you, always on the pathway to your light. Dear listeners, we thank you very much for your support and your help, and we wish you many blessings. We see you in a few days.
Thank you for listening to Kardec Radio, broadcasting live every Saturday morning at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Email us and share your comments at www.kardecradio.com. Until next time, we wish you many blessings.